welcome back again to another episode of Mohamed Talks with entrepreneurs, millionaires, billionaires, motivational speakers, public speakers, and more. Today we have an amazing and inclusive story with Miss Spiritual Waitress. She's going to tell us all about her spirit, all about changing our lives, since she helps others learn more about themselves through many different things. All right. Hello, Miss Dawn. How are you?
I'm very well, Mohammed. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining me here today in the session where we are going to inspire everyone out there. So, Miss Dawn,
Absolutely.
what is the most important factor in your life? Like, what's the key part of your life?
The key component is staying in a state of conscious awareness, to be aware of how you're responding, to be aware of how you're feeling, to be aware of how you're reacting to things. When you're in a state of conscious awareness, you are in control of what you are transcending.
All right. Thank you very much. So, tell us about your story. How did you become the great motivational speaker we see today?
Well, without wanting any sorrow from anybody, since I was born, I understood the power of consciousness because I was abandoned. Then I went to my next phase in my life, and I was abused. And then many incidents happened, from abuse, attacks, death, disease. I died 3 times, and everything was a learning. And I knew that I also have this ability to channel energy, so I can channel people, like right now with you. And I thought to myself, I've had this amazing life so far. I've had this incredible life. I've traveled. I've manifested absolutely everything into my life, even though I've been presented with all these challenges and illnesses and issues, as people will label them. But I always knew that if you can focus on what you truly believe in, like we talked about earlier, when you believe it and you trust it's for you, opportunities will just keep coming. So that has been my life up until 2012, where I realized I had this luxurious life. I was traveling, I was on yachts, I was flying around the world, and it was amazing. But I found myself getting annoyed with people. And then I was like, oh, they're so annoying. And in 2012, I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, Dawn, they're not doing anything. There's something I need to change. I need to change me in order to see change around me. So then I did 2 years of dedicated therapeutic sessions. I did my online mentoring with Dr. Wayne Dyer, who's passed away to the next level of his spirit now. And I dedicated my time to this. I knew that I had to do this in order to make change come into my life. So then I'm obviously channeling people on a day-to-day basis, and people are wanting my help. And I realized, hold on a second, I should be paid for my time. I know it's a beautiful gift to have, but we have to be paid. So of course, I then decided to create the Spiritual Waitress, and now I'm certified motivational speaker, mind realignment therapist. I teach people how to master the art of manifestation because I'm a living testimony of manifesting. In a nutshell.
So yeah, that is basically the history of Miss Spiritual Waitress in a nutshell. I loved the great part where you said, we need to get paid for our time, because most people say, you know what, these entrepreneurs are so cheap. They want just a little bit of, words. They want millions and hundreds of dollars for it. But in reality, those words can change people's lives, because anyone's word really can make a change and make a dent in someone's life, either if it's a good one or a bad one. The words are powerful. The power of words is big. You mentioned that you've suffered through a lot, and I mean, that goes to show you have suffered through more than anyone on this earth.
I didn't suffer. It happened for me. I didn't suffer. You need to be very aware of what it is that you say, because if we say we suffer, we expand on that. So just to forgive me for interrupting, I embrace those things.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. That was my next point. You see, because we need to look at it from a different perspective. Like, life doesn't happen to you. it happens for you. So yeah, that was my second point, but always skipping and going towards the point, that's a good part. So the most important part is that most people say, you know what, I've had all this stuff. You say it happened for me. Okay, so it happened for me. So what's next? What am I going to do with this? Most of the time people say that, oh my God, I've done so many things yet I haven't succeeded. It's all about that 1%. It's all about that development. You're not going to explode overnight. No one just went from 0 to 100, skipping every step. When you're walking a street, you never skip a step. You may skip a few, steps on the stool or going upstairs, but when you're going towards success, because it is a journey, when you're going through it, you can't skip anything because it's a straight line. Maybe you deviate left and right, but it's a straight line. So can you tell us what was the key aspect to your success, Miss Spiritual Waitress?
It's all about perception. Now, you have just mentioned some things that we all have to be paid for what we do. And remember that when you say paid, this is a word association here. When you say paid, people automatically assume it's money. And they're forgetting the key fact that it's an energy. So being paid is an energy. So if you are rewarded financially or supported by people's energy or by testimonial, that's being paid. That's being rewarded for what it is that we're giving out. But it is all about perception. Excuse me. If you perceive something as being impossible, guess what you're expanding? Guess what you're ordering, as the spiritual waitress will say? You are ordering exactly that. So although you've highlighted this, anybody who's looking to set up a company or anyone is looking to fall in love, anyone is looking to work on their health, the concept is the same. You have to be aware of what you're applying your attention, your focus to. Because if you are sitting there going, well, I'm not sure how it's going to happen, and this is a little tough, and I haven't got this, you're transmitting that information to our wonderful universe, and it literally responds to you and says, here you go, here's more of what you've been ordering. So it's so important that you remove labels. You remove what you can and can't do. And you just stay in frequency with what you trust you are deserving of. So for me, being able to perceive things, and I pick up on things straight away. So I work with the method called antithesis realignment. For example, motivational quotes for me make me want to, because I'm just like, I see people going, now stop doing this. And they're so passionate about it. And you need to forget about that and do not do this anymore. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, you claim to be a professional motivational speaker. You're planting seeds and reminding them what they shouldn't do. So I'm very passionate about it. I get very, very emotional, like, it's so important that if you are perceiving something as big, it will be big. Look at the mountain. I always say, I'll do it with you actually, okay? There's a big mountain, there's a small mountain, and there's a mountain. Which one do you climb?
I mean, I'm gonna climb the big mountain.
Okay, Mohamed, you're very, very intelligent. But why did you just label and size it? Because your mind automatically wants to go for the challenge. But how do you know how big or small the mountain is?
When you haven't seen it.
It's perception. So the mind automatically goes to, oh, this one. I'll go to the small one because it's easier. I'll go to the big one because it's more challenging. But no one told you what comes with just the mountain. There's no size. It's just, you're going to climb it. It's not big. It's not small. I'm just going to climb this mountain because it makes me feel good. So that's perception. That's a very, very simple example of what perception is and how the mind goes. Now, obviously, I love how your mind goes because you're all for make it challenging for me. And that, again, you've placed this into your mindset. You have literally said, I'm ready for big things. Remove the size. and I'm just ready for opportunities, no matter what size they are. And you'll see what happens. I mean, you're 13. You got still, as much as you are extremely ahead of the game, and you're an inspiration, and I love this. But
Thank
the
you.
advantage you have is, if you've learned this much in 13 years, do you even understand what happens the next 13 years? Mind blowing. So remove perception, remove labels. I mean, I obviously never telling people what not to do, but start just applying yourself to being in one, being in divine energy, and trust in the process.
Because that's a part of making the change. Labels, like society's labels, are poor, nerd, jock, popular, unpopular when it comes to school. Then you go to entrepreneur, business, bankers, robbers, etc. Society puts labels on us that we may not even accept, but it's just a part of your life now. So you have to start looking at it from the other perception. Because a lot of people say, oh, wow, I have a story that I really, really love. Like, there's a clown who's trying to juggle or to hold plates on straws, or wooden straws or wooden sticks, and he shows all the plates that were broken, and then he shows the final picture. Most of the people go and say, oh my God, look how many times he failed. But the people who decide to look at the success and you see, you got to put weight on the failure, but put love on success, because you gotta understand and feel that someone had to go through, and someone had to learn things and go through the process and understand it. But you also have to respect and appreciate the fact that they made it. They are doing something now. A part of changing your life.
Failure is just a learning. You have to make mistakes in order to understand what you have to do next.
Yeah, because there are two types of mindsets. One teacher told us this, and she was like, who has made a mistake in their life? A lot of people said, no, I've never made mistakes. I said, yeah, because, I was born to never lie. So the teacher said, if you haven't made mistakes, you haven't learned anything. Even no matter how many grades you get, no matter what money you have, if you haven't made mistakes, you haven't learned anything about life. Because failure is not something to be afraid of. There are two types of mindsets. What do you think is important about changing the way you think, basically, changing the way you set your mind?
So, on that, Mohamed, you have these people. Now, this will allow you to determine the kind of people that you want to surround yourself with. Because if you are noticing, or people are focused on the negative or the mistake or the failure, that means their brain automatically connects to criticism and complaint. So you know that when they wake up in the day, they're just looking for reasons to complain. But when you see those people go, oh my gosh, but look how it turned out, you automatically understand that person. So you need to be extremely aware of the sort of people that you are surrounding, you and anybody surrounding yourself by. Because if you are noticing these people who are picking up on the failures, then you need to question your surrounding environment.
Yeah, that's 100% true. I remember sometimes where I didn't believe negativity existed, as an innocent child. Man, how unsaid I was. Negativity is all around us. But here's a hack, and you can tell me if this is right or not. For me, the hack is that when you're looking at life, you see, you gotta be a filterer of seawater. You take in the water that's important, you filter it. You see the salt, you don't always throw it away. Because most of the time, people who are hating, they may have a point. Because they may say, oh, your video footage is so bad. That may be true. So you need to improve that. Because haters should empower you. They shouldn't pull you down. They don't have strings. They can't do anything to you. They help you build yourself.
Oh, exactly. Obviously, you're going to be speaking to Sean soon, but sometimes when we're doing our videos together and you have people that are just criticizing it, I just say thank you. can I learn something from that comment? Can I take something? And Brad Lee, he said, you want to encourage people who get into little arguments with themselves on your comments because they're defending you or they're actually boosting you. We have people who disagree with certain things that we say and they voice their opinion. And I always say, well, you dedicated your time to message, to comment. Something drew you here. You always got to support. The beautiful saying is, send kindness to negative people. Why? Because they need it the most.
Yeah. So to me, negativity is really an important aspect of life because people face negativity. I know a reel that Mr. Sean did was, I don't have time for negativity. I love that because it's just, if you push away, you can't really keep yourself in a bubble. You have to be exposed to negative comments. You have to be exposed to positive comments so you know what's what. You know what's good and what's bad. So on our last ideas of today's podcast, and thank you very much for joining me, Miss Dawn, what do you think is something that someone can do to change everything around their life?
Admit that they need to make the change. When you change,
boom,
everything around you changes. Change the way you think, and the way you think changes. This is a statement from Dr. Wayne Dyer. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
100%. It's all about perspective. That's the image you're portraying here. It's a beautiful way of just giving out your ideas. So what would you say is a core element and aspect of the mind that has shaped our life today?
For me, obviously, because I've been doing this an awful long time, but if you are, like I said in the beginning, if you're in a conscious state of awareness, then you are in full control of how you respond and you react and how you're feeling. You need to stay in that conscious state of awareness. Even the human body, obviously, is full of, it's made up of emotions, but the spirit, and it's called energy, has no emotion attached. It has nothing but love, just nothing but existence, nothing but frequency. And you have this ability to shift from the human to the spirit, and that's called frequency. So as you're in a state of conscious awareness, it means you're in a high vibration and you're on the right frequency.
Yeah, 100%. So it's a really important factor for us to actually change. Because if we say, to a group of people, you know what, hey, who wants change? Everyone will say, yeah, we want change. But who wants to change? Because everything starts by us. From us to our friends, siblings, families, to our society to the world. Because the way we think.
You just said, Mohamed, you just said that everybody wants change.
But no one wants to change.
I have to add to this, and you're going to take this as well, because I know you're in this learning phase. You're going to take all these things that you're going to learn from all these different people, and you remove something. You cannot ever want something. You must be it.
100%. So most of the time you say, who wants change? Not to. You can't want it. Who is change? But no one really can be change. So no one really can be change if they don't embrace it. Because a lot of things have to change for you to become that. It's a very opening mindset. This discussion with you is really an opening discussion, one of the best discussions I've had on my podcast. So yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead to Miss, Spiritual Waitress. If you're going on YouTube, if you're on Spotify, head on to YouTube because everything is in the description. On our last minutes, what is the most important lesson or skill that you're going to tell people? This is going to be like a separate video.
Oh. Well, it's just a repeat. If you can now master the art of manifestation, you can bring absolutely anything into actualization, actually anything into form. All you need to do is to believe that you are deserving, and everybody is deserving the same as the next person.
All right. Thank you very much, Miss Dawn Appel for Appel. Is it Appel or Apple?
Appel, yes.
All right. So is that French?
It's actually Austrian. It's very funny because my name is Dawn Appel, and it means on parade.
Oh, well, that's an amazing thing. So, yeah, everyone, hope you're having an amazing day. Have a better day. Change your perspective. Look from the other eye. Today, we were here with Miss Spiritual Waitress, and we discussed how looking at it differently makes it different. Be the change so the change comes and arrives. I'll see you guys in the next podcast. Hope you loved this episode. I'll see you next time. Bye.